Hey everyone, welcome back to Secret Leaders. Another day, another dollar, which I guess means things aren't going that well. But Chris, welcome to the show. Nice to have you back, looking fresh. Been to the barber?
I have been to the barber.
Yeah, you love sharing that on your Instagram stories, don't you?
I just have a really great relationship with the guys in the barber shop.
Yeah.
And I think that they do a great job. Like, you get a little massage, you get your ears flamed, you get your nose and your eyebrows done, your hair.
I think about this quite a lot. It's like the ultimate line of where male, like masculinity and spa treatment kind of vibe meet.
Oh, mate, it's amazing.
Isn't it? Because we don't go to the spa and do things like that, but you go in there and they do your little massage, like you say.
They do a head massage, your back, your shoulders, your hands.
Wait, too much?
Well, not often do I get that, but
not on the Insta stories.
No, and so I always Insta them, and they're always saying you should have your haircuts for free and so forth. And I'm like, no, I don't want to muddy the water here. I love the haircut. I love the experience of the place, but I don't want to do a brand deal with you. I'm just going to post it because I like it. And they're like, okay.
Get free gel?
No.
Just pay for it like a psycho who isn't really popular online.
So what's new with you, Dan? Obviously, I've had a haircut. What's happened with you?
I have been playing lots of paddle. I'm very inspired.
You have.
We played paddle together.
Yeah.
You were very good. And and I was inspired. And I was like, you know what?
I thought you were quite good.
I could get better at this. So I did the only thing that a real man does in these situations. I bought paddle shoes.
Paddle shoes?
Yeah, they're basically tennis shoes, but for paddle. Anyway, I bought shoes because it turns out that my Vivo Barefoots were agonizing. I was basically limping for a while, so they definitely are not good for that kind of impact sport. Anyway, impact on the feet. I played paddle 3 times last week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I'm going public here on Secret Leaders. I even just played a game during the day and just pretended that I was working. Something just came up and I was like, you know what? I'm in that rare spot where I've got no meetings.
Yeah.
I'm the boss.
Yeah.
If I can't just go and play paddle right now because I got no meetings and I feel like it, then what the hell is the point in all of this? And it was incredibly freeing.
I mean, I would say for years now, I have played paddle and tennis, gone to the gym, gone for long runs in the middle of the day because that's when the world is really quiet.
Yeah, it's true.
And then I'll pick up the work later in the evening.
Plus try and get a paddle game on a weekend. It's impossible.
Like, I pretty much only play paddle and tennis with other entrepreneur friends because we can play in the middle of the day.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's very freeing. But yeah, I thought you were good.
Yeah, but I'm looking for greatness, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We then wear trainers,
yeah. Start with trainers. Anyway, so that's my thing. I'm gonna get myself some more. I'm gonna get myself some lessons.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play a little bit more, and then I'll come back and hopefully take you on.
Fantastic.
In other news, you didn't ask about my haircut. I had a haircut too.
Yep.
Thanks for noticing.
How was it?
It was great. Thanks. Yeah. I guess if it didn't go on,
looks good.
If it didn't go on Insta stories, it didn't happen. So
that's it.
I do sometimes take a photo when I'm in there, thinking, yeah, and then I'm like, it's just a bit weird.
What's that phrase? This is cute. Might delete later.
Yeah, exactly. It was
you take a photo though, you don't post it.
Yeah.
Here's a keeper.
It was
nice.
It was just not worth it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing, right? You go into the barber, and by the sounds of it, I have a very similar barber in terms of like you get your little massage in between, your hot towel, your ears flamed, your nose waxed, and all of the stuff. And it's kind of like going to the spa. It's like the masculine version of going to the spa because it hurts a little bit.
I love the spa though.
You love spa?
Oh my God. If I can go in for a 90-minute massage, that's it. I mean, I'm on holiday. I'm choosing that all the time.
I just get them at home. I did quite a few in Cape Town, to be fair, but I got a really great masseuse to get them to come at home.
There you go. We should put an ad in here somewhere for some sort of
1-800 massage.
Not sure that's the one you want to call. No. That feels dodgy.
Okay, great. It's just a redirect to Pornhub or something. Okay, so
what are we talking about here?
Well, on the subject of male grooming, we had Sean Dixon. Thank you.
Good segue.
We had Sean Dixon, who is the founder and managing director of Richard James Suits, which actually started off as the smallest tailor on Savile Row and is now the largest, which actually in itself is a really nice story.
Yeah, international presence, New York.
Exactly, become an international brand, and we got a bit of a masterclass on that kind of business, what bespoke suits are like, who their types of customers. I mean, they've had some crazy ones. Soon to have Chris Donnelly, but who have they had before?
They have had Elton John, who famously went in and bought everything, bought the shop.
That is a baller move.
Which is a baller move. They had another time where there was Oasis were in there at the same time as Elton John, at the same time as he couldn't tell us the name, like an industry titan. And so he said that...
Sounded like Richard Branson, didn't it?
I reckon it might have been like, like Anthony Bamford or something, like a big name, but not public.
Right.
So they had those three at the same time. He said that Liam was super stylish, Noel was a bit more challenging. But yeah, I mean, amazing that they were two guys who started a suit shop on Savile Row and are now, effectively clothing the most wealthy, famous people in the world.
Pretty cool. And Chris Donnelly soon.
Wow, yeah, maybe if I need a suit, yeah.
Managing international money used to drive me crazy until I found Wise Business, the account for doing business in other currencies. I can hold money in different currencies and only convert when the rates are good. No more rushing to exchange at bad rates or losing money on outrageous fees. And my team handles all the payments themselves. I don't have to micromanage anything. They have their own logins, set their own limits, and I just keep an eye on things from my phone. One simple account lets you pay and get paid in over 40 currencies. There's no hidden fees, no marked up exchange rates, and it connects right to your accounting software. Whether you're paying vendors or suppliers in Europe or you're getting paid from Australia, it's all just easy. And that's what I love about Wise. It just takes this complicated thing and it makes it really simple. Your money's always secure with 24/7 protection, and you can see exactly where everything is in real time. To learn more about how you can use Wise Business to save time, money, and stress, visit wise.com/business.
Okay, so this story is insane. So there's a guy in the UK that accidentally threw away his hard drive containing what's now over £500 million in Bitcoin. So I can't off the top of my head work out how many Bitcoin that is, but still a fair amount.
8,000 apparently.
Is that right? Because it's like $100,000 a coin now.
Yeah, 90.
Something like that, yeah. Not that you're watching. The crazy thing is, he knows that it's in a landfill, and he's been fighting for years and years and years to get it back. And so I think now we're in the situation where he's trying to buy the landfill, is effectively where we're at.
Yeah, it's weird. So basically, he's been trying to access the landfill for years and is offering the council a share of the Bitcoin if he finds it, which they refused. Makes no sense. So he's sued them, but a judge has thrown out his case saying there's no reasonable grounds for the claim, and he's now representing himself at the Court of Appeal, ironically using AI to help him. Here's the thing that I don't get. When I read the story and I find something about it really fishy. There's really no reason for unless I'm mistaken, there's no reason for the council to not take him up on his offer. If he finds the Bitcoin, he'll give them a portion of it. That could be a very large portion. Who knows what he's offering, but a reasonable amount, right? And if I'm in his shoes...
50-50.
Anything like that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, 50-50 is better than like 100% of zero.
What did you say? It was $500 million?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, well, whatever.
250 million for the council.
Anything. Like, why not?
Yeah.
So the only thing
Richest
that I can
council ever.
Right. So all I can think of when I think of this story is that I reckon someone's found it and taken it back in the day at some point. I reckon it's somewhere else. And they know that they don't have it.
Why would you ever pick up... Oh, when the story broke about the hard drive.
Maybe, yeah.
Why would you ever pick up a old hard drive?
Yeah, fine. But like you work in this. And this came out about 3 years ago. This story. Now he's trying to buy it. But, if I was working in that council at that point, I'd be right in there with my shovel.
It's funny, and I know that so many people who watch this will have the same experience, and you will be exactly the same. When we were younger and Bitcoin was first out, we were using it to buy all sorts of nonsense online.
Yeah, nonsense.
I don't want to talk about exactly what we were buying online.
Yeah.
But, relatively...
It didn't last.
Yes, it was a consumable. And... that was what we all did. But I used to remember using it for buying things on games, like selling armor and swords and weapons on games in crypto.
Yeah.
And so, I can understand that there are probably still shitloads of these hard drives out there because you could have hundreds of coins. But of course you could. They had zero value.
I think the other detail in this is that he didn't throw it away. His ex-girlfriend threw it away. I mean, most people don't really like their ex-girlfriend in the first place. This will be a whole other level.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that makes it feel less believable.
Really?
I think that's the first thing I'm like, that feels a bit unbelievable.
But I mean, he's still offering to buy
Yeah.
the whole.
But is he like, has he at any point tried to sue her or claim from her? I don't know. I mean, sounds a bit funky. Why would someone throw away someone else's computer?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, that is a bit weird. And he mentioned that his...
You going to Melissa's laptop and going, whoop, get rid of that.
Yeah, it's quite weird behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah, and like hard drives back in the day were like,
Huge.
they were bigger and thicker than that, and they'd go in the back of a computer.
Yeah.
Or should go to the back of his computer, take it out, or throw the box out. Seems a bit unlike. I mean, I don't know. What am I? Who am I?
Well, you're obviously not a psycho ex-girlfriend like his.
No.
Yeah.
But objectively, if it was true, I would probably be a little bit upset with my partner.
Yeah, slightly.
Because 500 million would be... I mean, I certainly wouldn't have to do this with you. I mean,
No. No, I could charge you to do this with me.
You could.
Yeah, I'd have a lot of power over you if I had that much money.
Yeah. I would turn up.
You would just be impressed. Yeah, you would turn up.
I would turn up.
In a good mood.
If you're paying me a Bitcoin a day.
Exactly. Oh, God, that'd be fantastic.
That's a good rate.
We'd both do that. Okay, and what do you reckon the AI's legal arguments to win this case against the council could possibly be?
I have no idea. I mean, if you're the council, I don't know why they wouldn't, at this point, because the story's been going on for so long, at least allow him to raise money and pay for himself and split the outcome.
It's weird. What is in it for them to just want it to stay landfill?
All he's saying is, I'm just going through the trash.
Yeah.
And so if he raised the money, which he probably would be, the crazy people would give him money.
Yeah.
Even if he crowdfunded it, he'd do it.
100%.
And then the deal was to split half of it with the council, 25% with the crowd, and boof, you're off.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't do it.
Odd.
Security compliance is one of those things that can silently derail your business. Not because it's impossible, but because most of us put it off until it becomes urgent. And by then, it's often too late. I want to tell you about Vanta because it fundamentally changed how our company handles compliance. They've built a system that automates preparing for SOC 2 and ISO 27001 certification, turning what used to be months of tedious work into a straightforward process. What makes Vanta different is that they understand this isn't just about checking boxes. It's about building trust with your customers while protecting your business. That's why over 8,000 companies, from two-person startups to major enterprises, rely on their platform. If you're growing your business and you know security compliance is something you need to address, visit vanta.com/secret leaders. They're offering $1,000 off your first year, and honestly, it's worth every penny just for the peace of mind. It's the solution you wish you'd found years ago. Use Vanta so you don't get slowed down by security paperwork and focus on what matters, growing your business. Visit vanta.com/secret leaders now and get $1,000 off your first year.
Okay, new story. There was an interview recently with All Elite Wrestling, AEW CEO Tony Khan. Now, somebody who we're actually hoping to have on the podcast as well. Now, he was saying he wasn't intending on going public, but he wanted to pass the company down to his kids, which is an interesting thing because I'd actually like to hear more about it. But it's got me thinking about whether I'd be interested in leading the same company forever or passing it on. So, in terms of like the different options out there and, a company life cycle, how do you think about this? Do you think that any of your businesses you'd want to pass on to your kids?
It's tricky because I certainly have never felt that a business I've run so far I would want to pass on to my kids. However, at this age now, like I'm running a few businesses and I'm starting to have an idea. It sounds so bizarre because it's quite a new thought, but I'm starting to have an idea of what my long-term business will be. And that I think is pass onable. And so I think a lot of what I do now creates value super fast and then is either sellable or cash generative for a short period of time. None of that stuff I think is like everlasting. And I think
Is it Bitcoin margin trading?
No. You have to like build actual repeatable long-term value for it to be a company that can be passed on, right? I mean, so right now I don't think about it a huge amount, but I think that what I will do after this next phase of my career is probably build some form of like fund. And I think that is something that could be passed on to the right people.
Fund like Rolex tax dodge, not tax dodge fund, or fund like investment fund?
Investment fund, like, picking businesses that I can give unfair advantages to and, invest with cash. But
so kind of like the Sahil model? Family office style?
I think, yeah, I mean, would be my own money. wouldn't be external money, and then would be that I could probably drive really positive outcomes with my sort of, reach and so forth. Yeah. So that is what I think I will be doing in 5 years' time.
Interesting.
That's what I think my job will be.
I saw a great tweet related to this. I don't know if you saw that Anthropic. Sorry, not Anthropic. I don't know if you saw that Perplexity announced that they were launching a VC fund. And someone just tweeted underneath saying, you either die a startup or stay alive long enough to become a VC. I was like, that's just so great. And also what you've just described, which is kind of like, you just stay a founder long enough, or you just, end up becoming a VC anyway.
I think for anyone who cares, I think I would never want to actually be like a VC, or I'm actually still not that interested in investing in like early stage startups. I'm probably more interested in finding businesses that I think are really good and helping them massively lever up, basically. Which I've done a few times over the years, and I've really enjoyed the experience.
Yeah. Is that more like the Cody Sanchez style then?
Yeah, so it would either be like joining a business, helping with strategy and reach and funding. Maybe it's like, maybe their limiting factor is, so I'm talking to this big property company at the moment. I feel like their limiting factor is reach and cash. Like, they actually have a really good business, but if they raised 30 million, they could go way faster and super profitable. But I don't think they have the capability within the business to raise 30 million. Whereas I feel like if I work with them for 6 to 12 months, I could probably help them do it. That I think I would find really interesting and create a lot of value. And that could be passed along. But otherwise, no. I mean, also in the UK, we don't really have that sort of thinking here as much. Like, in Germany, that's how they think. They think about building family, long-term businesses to pass on. But I just don't think culturally it exists here as much.
No, I was actually part of technically a family business. So my grandpa started a business with my dad. And my dad was 17. And they ran it. Well, my dad was 67 when he passed away. And, the intention was for me to go into the family business, etc. But I just didn't want to.
It's clothing, wasn't it?
Yeah, fashion manufacturing. And so...
Do you know how I know that?
Go on.
I remember, well before I was co-hosting Secret Leaders, you having a Secret Leaders chat with Nick Telson about how both of you were Jewish, both of you had family businesses that were like in clothing.
Yeah, and it's called in that because it's like East End Jewish, like immigrants from wherever, is called the rag trade.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's how I know that about you.
And apparently, like, very common. I don't know why, but it was just a very common industry for... actually, I learned about this, actually, from Malcolm Gladwell's book. What's it called? The famous one? Outliers? Yeah. Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. I was reading that, and I was like, oh, God, that so answers the question I've always wondered, which was like, what is up with all these Jewish people going into what they call the rag trade? It turns out because a lot of Jewish European immigrants were experts in textiles. And then they all had to emigrate, and a lot of them went to the UK, and a lot of them went to America, and the American ones ended up going and starting Magic Circle law firms randomly. But they've been brought up in textile like families, and the ones in London went and just did more what they called rag trade. Who knew? So thanks for that, Malcolm Gladwell. So anyway, that's my rag trade story. Didn't end up in the rag trade.
Yeah, I don't know how he even got there.
What about you? Your dad ran a business. Were you anything about working with him?
My dad does run a business, yeah.
That's property, right?
Yeah, and all three of us worked for him, over, I think all of us did at least 6 months.
Oh, I've done that, yeah.
I think I did up to maybe a year. And so he's a commercial property broker, commercial property agency. And so he works for brands to find them high street presences and fits them out and gets them ready and so forth. He's worked for basically every big company there is. He's been involved in like big companies growing and so forth. It's like the best lifestyle business I've ever come across. It has like a very natural size. He doesn't have a huge team. It makes good money. He's run it for 25 years. I mean, we all worked in it, and I think we all got a really good sense of like how to run a sort of client-based, delivery-based business. And I would say like Verb had so much of its thinking done by my dad's agency, basically.
Right.
Did I think about joining it? I think you could have. He has an amazing reputation. like incredible reputation. But there wasn't much of a business there without him. So you'd have to become him, and then you'd have to scale it.
Yeah.
And so I think that like I decided to do my own thing. I think my older brother might have, but he moved to America, and my younger brother obviously runs Lottie.
So Donnelly and Sons will have to come from your next iteration.
Well, technically, I'm a Donnelly Mewett, so
Donnelly Muir.
Donnelly Mewett.
Mewett.
As in I have double-barreled name.
Oh, okay.
But I suppose, like from a work perspective,
yeah, stage name vibe. This is your Sasha Fierce I've got in the room with me. I got it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, my work name, my stage name, is Chris Donnelly. Yeah.
All right, what's up next? We've got advice. So a couple of questions people have sent us. Let me kick these off for you, sir. Started my company to be my own boss, but now I have 100 bosses, investors, customers, employees. Obviously. Did I just create a worse job for myself? Obviously. Next.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
You idiot.
I mean, by now it's obvious, like everyone says, I don't want a 9 to 5. And I think what you clearly pick up the second you become an entrepreneur is you have a 9 to 5, 5 to 9, and then every other hour and every weekend until the thing works. And it shouldn't be underestimated that I think entrepreneurship is a great route forward, but my God, especially the first one, pre like any money or leverage or levers in your life, the first one is just so hard. And I remember building Verb for 10 years, and I could say I had 10 bosses. They were my 10 biggest clients. My 11th boss was then definitely the staff, because you have to do everything to maintain culture.
Yeah. And
so, yeah, I mean, don't be surprised by that. I never had investors in that business, but equally, if you have big investors, they become your boss. They can push you around. So did I create a worse job for myself? I don't know. The beginning of entrepreneurship is fucking rough.
Well, yeah, at the beginning, you did create a worse job for yourself.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
What's that phrase like?
Very exciting though, the beginning. That's the only thing. You do get away with a lot of the adrenaline and the I'm making it on my own kind of vibe.
It's
and
great.
It counts for a lot, that.
And there is that like, slightly cliche saying that you see on the side of gyms sometimes, which is like, I will work like others won't so I can live like others can't. Entrepreneurship, if you do the 10 years of like pretty close to, I would only describe as like brutality and it's horrible and it's hard and all the rest of it, and you sacrifice a lot for it. If you make it through that successfully, you do often find yourself in a position where you've created yourself real wealth. And to create real, liquidity at a young age is very tough, very tough.
Real wealth, which is obviously the 6th type of wealth.
Yes.
Just realised our biggest competitor is our ideal acquirer. Do we lean into that or try to diversify our exit options? Well, I actually just went to an event yesterday on this. I went to an event yesterday on acquisitions and company mergers and stuff like that, held by my law firm. I thought it was really, really interesting. So the answer to every single question when it comes to negotiation, regardless of whether it is with a customer or an employee or an acquirer, is leverage. So, do we lean into that or try to diversify our exit options? Diversify your exit options.
Totally.
Do not go into any conversation ever where you're negotiating where you want that outcome, which already is your whole leverage is gone because you want it, so you're now desperate. You really can't go into any conversation like that. You need options, and the reason you need options is because there's going to be a negotiation either way between two parties. And the only way that you're not going to make a bad decision is if you understand what other options are on the table. And then you can still choose to take a worse deal because it's with the right acquirer. But that was doing it with the full knowledge that there were other options available to you.
We talked about this on our Deborah Meaden episode, which someone might put over here. We're over here. And on that episode, we talk about how the biggest mistake that the entrepreneur makes when they come into the den of 5 options is saying, I've come for you. Just, Peter Jones. I've come for Peter Jones. All the other dragons go, okay, fuck off then. And then you're just left with Peter and you have no leverage on Peter. And so it's the same thing. It's exactly what you said. Like you got to give yourself optionality. And I remember we were selling our company. We approached we knew the 3 biggest digital marketing agencies out there who were all PE backed. And then we approached the next 2 biggest and we said, we're for sale. And then for about a month, we just pinged them off against each other until whoever got to the best price. And I say it in my video that I did 4 secret leaders on exiting, which someone will put up somewhere around here. And this video, I talk about the fact that you have all the leverage until the point that you effectively say the deal is done. And so make sure that you do some bloody good negotiating before that point. Here's another one for you, Daniel. Our product roadmap is being driven by our loudest customer rather than our strategy. How do you say no to feature requests without losing business?
This is actually probably more one for you to answer, to be honest, because this is a much more of a B2B problem. I did used to work in B2B SaaS, and this was a very common problem. But B2C is not a thing.
We had this a lot at Lottie because Lottie owns at Lottie, we bought a variety of SaaS businesses and put them together and built our own SaaS tool for care homes. And so we had this a lot, feature requests and so forth. I think it's about expectation management up front, about timelines. Actually, a lot of businesses are fine with timelines as long as you hit the timelines. And so be realistic about the timelines. And I would say loudest means nothing to me. I'm not interested at all in the loudest. If you're saying that your biggest customer is driving your roadmap, then that's fair enough if they're paying enough. But loudest and small, I would tell the customer to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. You're not the boss of me. I already have 11. Okay, I've got 2 potential co-founders. One's brilliant but difficult. The other's average but amazing to work with. Which matters more in the long run? Oh, I'd love to know if we agree on this. Go on. Difficult but brilliant, or average but amazing to work with?
Average but amazing to work with every day of the fucking week. You?
Yeah, I'd say the same.
I'm too fucking gnarled by this whole entrepreneurship thing to work with someone I find difficult.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Basically, there's a lovely saying, which is, it's not what you do, it's who you do it with. And I think that's really true. Like, I think about that a lot when building my teams and working on any company. Life is short. Every single place you choose to work is a choice, or should be a choice that's well considered, especially if you're like us and you're lucky and you don't have to do the thing. So, spending that time with someone you don't like and is difficult to work with is a terrible idea. It doesn't matter if they're brilliant.
And people, I mean, in startups, the person that you have to become is certainly not who you are at the start.
Absolutely true.
And so, like, if you go in with someone that's got high energy, high ambition,
growth mindset,
they want to work with you, they're a good partner, I would take that all fucking day rather than the really brilliant dickhead.
Yeah. And you're never going to change a really brilliant dickhead. That's the ironic other side of that, which is you can have all of those things and be average and get to good or great. But usually, if you're a brilliant dickhead, you quite often stay that way.
Yeah, you never change. Yeah.
And that's a wrap, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. And now, before you go, please don't forget, hit the subscribe button, follow on your podcast player. A whopping 97% haven't yet done that, which means that we are enjoying the fruits of subscriptions of only 3% of our listeners, which we can do better than that.
Guys, it's tough out here.
Work with us here. Give us your love. Subscribe. It's free. Costs you nothing. Thank you. We love you.
See you next time.